Hello and welcome to Food for Thought. It's Mark Lockridge here, the pastor of New Life Fellowship in Letterkenny and Milford Reformed Presbyterian Church. It's good to have you with us. Do you have any sense of hope? I was asked that question by a thoughtful man, burdened by the mess of the world, by the latest news from the Middle East, and all that was going on. For a man deeply sensitive to the pain and plight of others, he felt the weight. I knew how he felt. I had had several days in a row of bad news about people I knew and cared about. The brokenness of the world was pressing on me too. So where do you find hope in a broken world? In a world where violence, injustice and corruption abound, where assaults occur, where accidents happen, where death rudely interrupts. Do you have any sense of hope? He was asking if I saw things getting better, if I could see a way through the mess. He and I were coming from very different perspectives. I was a Christian, and he an atheist. And I suppose that's why he asked, do you have any sense of hope? For he knew he hadn't. If anything, the events of the last 100 years or so, multiple wars, genocides, terrorist attacks, corporate and political corruption, sexual abuse and trafficking, not that these are unique to the last 100 years, they show us that despite all mankind's technological progress, we are a million miles from being the solution to our deepest problems. We need to stop living in the make-believe world of, if we could just try harder, then we could solve all our problems. It's nonsense. Despite the good news stories and acts of human kindness, humans are flawed at the core of their being. Looking at man, I see no hope of progress. And that's exactly what my friend was saying too. But I've got somewhere else to look. And there is somewhere else to look. The Bible gives me a framework which allows both for the ugliness of the world and the prospect of real hope. It allows a person to be honest about the mess, sceptical of man's ability to put things to right, and yet to have hope. Two great truths from the Bible stand out. 1. God will transform the world. One day Jesus Christ will make good his promise to return, just like he made good on his promise to rise from the dead. He will make all things new. One day the brokenness will be gone. He says in Revelation 21 verses 4 and 5, I will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Behold, I am making all things new. You can have hope amidst the brokenness when you know it's only temporary. So God will transform the world. But second thing that gives me hope is God will deal with all injustice. On that day, every act of treachery, deceit, violence, rape, corruption, war, terrorism, genocide, racism will be exposed. And the God of all justice will deal with it. What was done in the dark will be brought to the light. What people thought they had got away with will be brought before them. And God's justice will be terrible. The prospect of divine justice means I can cope with the injustices of this present brokenness. But how can we know for sure? And how can we be part of the newness and not part of the judgment? We know because the crucifixion shows that God takes sin seriously. And the resurrection shows that he can make all things new. But how can we be part of that? Through trusting in what Jesus did at the cross, we can enjoy the one and avoid the other. There Jesus bore God's justice for my sin so that I wouldn't have to, and so that I could be made new and enjoy all things being made new. And that's where I find my hope. So let me ask you, do you have hope? Thanks for listening. And if you want to get in touch, drop me an email, mark@newlifefellowship.ie. Have a great week.